Hello, it's the 23rd of May. Welcome along to Renew Every Morning. I'm Paul Anderson-Walsh, and I'm always so grateful that you're with me again, so thank you for that. We have a lovely verse today to renew our minds over. It's from Psalm 90 and verse 12. It'll be a verse that's very, very familiar with you, I'm sure. Teach us to number our days, that we may gain a heart of wisdom. Well, you know what? When you get to my age, you start to number your days, but perhaps not for the right reason. Perhaps you start to think more to yourself, how many have I got left? And that's a kind of a circuit that I think needs to be broken, and we need some help with that. Or certainly people like me need some help with that, because you see, the thing is that we've got ourselves into a very strange mind about that. The truth is that nothing that was ever made, ever created, can no longer exist. There's not a world in which that happens. The reality is that we don't die, we just transform. That's so obvious. We get transfigured into something new, something other, but we don't cease to be. That's not a thing that can ever happen. Something that is can never not be. That's not possible. And so when we're thinking about being taught to number our days, we need to think about that perhaps in a slightly different way. Now, I don't know if this is the case, but something tells me, or something I remember, that this is the one psalm that's attributed to Moses. And that's interesting, because if that is the case, then that speaks of an old, very old prophetic wisdom. And it speaks of something, ironically, that's very current, sorry, is what I was looking for. It speaks of something incredibly current, the need to, I suppose, live wisely in the times that we are living in. And this verse says then, teach us to number our days. I don't think this is really a verse about death at all, as I've already said. I think it's that's overrated, if you will, because it's not an end, it's a continuation, it's a transformation. As you very well know, that which the caterpillar thought was the end, the butterfly discovered was the beginning. And that's so true of the whole ecosystem in which we live. But if I think about an acorn, it's hard to imagine, isn't it, that the oak tree is contained inside the acorn. But perhaps it's even still more extraordinary to think that the oak tree is the acorn. It's just transformed, it's just become something different. Now, here it seems to me this is more about depth, more about quality than it is about quantity. It's a prayer from someone who knows the way. This is someone who has understood something about the ways of God. Remember, Israel knew his acts, but Moses knew his ways. So teach us, it starts by saying. Not inform us, but teach us, shape us perhaps. Help us to form us, to discipline our awareness. And this is a lovely sense of spiritual direction. To number our days. Okay, so what are we thinking about here? This is about counting, sure, but it's about weighing them. It's about valuing them. It's about understanding them. Not as minutes that are ticking away, but that are moments that are pregnant with meaning. And this is kind of half of our problem. That I see this all the time in my corporate world. I see this all the time in my own particular life, and it's that we are people that live in transit, aren't we? We're always either rushing from somewhere or we're rushing to somewhere. We're so very seldom here and present and available right now. But this now moment is the only moment that we truly have. And I think what the psalmist is saying here is, learn to count those ways, number those days, these present moments. Not about time management, if you like, but about attention management. And to number your days means don't waste them, don't miss them. Don't miss them because you're hoping that when the next day comes, or next year, or whatever else it might be, don't measure them by your busyness, but measure them by your presence. And why would we want to do this? Well, so we gain the heart of wisdom. Wisdom in Scripture isn't about knowing more, it's about knowing what matters. And the only thing that matters is right here, right now, to number this day that we have. And a wise heart listens much more than it speaks. It values stillness more than it values speed. It lives a life like the life is holy, like every moment is holy. Wisdom is this high attribute of God that we've been studying about all month. And Brother Lawrence put it like this. He said, each day is an invitation into divine union. Can you imagine that? To co-labor, to collaborate with God. What an interesting idea. And the thing is that when we, in the Eastern mindset, which we need to draw on more and more, impermanence doesn't become a threat. It's a call to grace, because impermanence means that you're just going to be transformed into something else. This moment is all we have, and this moment is all we need. This moment is absolutely enough. And so this renew couldn't actually be more simple in some respects. It's saying, don't rush through time, don't rush to get somewhere else. Just remember, it's not about the number of days that you have, it's about numbering the days that you have. It's about realizing that each of these days is precious and vital, and I just want to live in this moment. Let it teach you not to count your days, but let it teach you that every day counts. Ask God, I guess, for all of us maybe, to help us number them, and in return He'll give us a wise and listening heart, and we'll find there's nothing to fear, either by the vast amount of days that we have left, or by the little number of days that you have left. In that sense, it's just not the key thing. The key thing is to remember that days count, so count them wisely. All right, God bless you. Great to be with you. See you next time.